You got the best angle there? All ready? Okay. Well, welcome to the campus of the University of Charleston. We're here today to announce a proposed settlement of the lawsuits that former students of Mountain State University have brought against Mountain State University. And as part of that settlement, there were four parties, one being Mountain State University, one being the former students of Mountain State University, or the plaintiffs. Mountain State's insurance company was a part of mediations and negotiations, as well as the University of Charleston. I want to ask Tony Magistro, who is the liaison counsel for the plaintiffs, to share with you the nature of the proposed settlement and a word about the process. And then I'll make comments about the impact of the settlement on the University of Charleston. So, Mr. Magistro.
Thank you, Dr. Welch. Again, my name is Anthony Magistro from Powell and Magistro here in Charleston, and I'm liaison counsel for the plaintiffs, who are the former MSU students who brought lawsuits against MSU arising out of its loss of accreditation. As part of the settlement in this case, we entered into a long negotiation. It was over a period of 11 months with the assistance of West Virginia's mass litigation panel, who appointed 3 judges to help us settle this case. We were in 9 separate days with the panel over the course of this 11 months mediating, and a number of private meetings among the lawyers in the case to work out the details of this, what turned out to be a complicated settlement given all the parties that were involved. Fortunately, we've been able to reach a settlement, and that settlement will be presented for preliminary approval in October to the mass litigation panel judges who are assigned to rule on the merits of this case. We'll ask them to preliminarily approve the settlement, set a schedule for final approval, and give notice to all of the students who are going to be members of the settlement class in this case. We're anticipating that final approval hearing will happen sometime at the end of this year, or hopefully no later than the beginning of next year, but that will be dependent on the court schedule. And again, the settlement is the proposed settlement. It's subject to the approval of the court, and that process is ongoing. But in the end, I'd like to thank, before I get to the details of the settlement, I'd like to thank the mass litigation panel judges, both the resolution judges who helped us do the settlement and the merits judges who were accommodating to the schedules that let us get to the point where we can make this deal. Under the settlement, a fund is being set up to compensate the students who suffered losses as a result of Mountain State's loss of accreditation and closure. That fund is being made up of several sources. The first source comes from United Educators, which is Mountain State University's insurance company. United Educators has agreed to contribute $8.5 million from MSU's insurance policies to the settlement fund. The second part of the fund will come from sums of money that are owed to Mountain State University by the United States Department of Education. We don't know what the final amount of those sums will be, but approximately 77% of those funds, when they're received from the Department of Education, will be put into the fund to compensate the students. The third contribution to the fund will come from the liquidation of MSU's assets. Under the terms of the settlement, MSU has agreed to liquidate all of its physical and personal property to provide funds to pay into the settlement fund. Of those funds, 85% of those funds will go into the student compensation fund after the costs of the liquidation are taken into account. Finally, United Educators has also agreed to contribute up to another $500,000 for the purpose of administering the settlement, sending out notice, running the claims process, and helping us take care of the buildings and provide insurance while the liquidation process is ongoing. So those are the sources of the funds that will be used to compensate students. The fund itself will be divided among the students based upon the number of MSU credits, that the Mountain State University credits that the students had paid for, with the credits being calculated based on credits that were not able to transfer to other programs. When the credits are all calculated, each student will receive a score, and that score will determine their proportionate share of what the ultimate fund will be. In addition, certain students will be able to take advantage of tuition assistance from the University of Charleston and attend classes here at University of Charleston or online, and those are subject to certain terms and conditions, but that's an additional benefit to the settlement students for some of the groups of students that University of Charleston has graciously agreed to provide. In the end, this is a settlement that we hope puts an end to this difficult litigation, which was the losses and the harms to the students weighed heavily on them, and we're glad that we can get to the point where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and put this case behind them so the students can get on with their lives.
The University of Charleston supports the settlement. We are sympathetic for the disadvantages that plaintiffs have experienced, and we believe the settlement is good for all of the parties who are involved. As you heard, Mountain State wants and has agreed to liquidate all of its assets, and some of those assets are facilities and their contents that the University of Charleston has been leasing to provide programs in Martinsburg and in Beckley. So what this means for the University of Charleston now is that there are no changes at all in what happens at the University of Charleston campus here in Charleston, nor are there any changes in our online programs and offerings. There's one immediate change in Beckley that we have enacted previously and prior to this announcement, and that is to close the culinary arts program in Beckley. And there's one change that will occur in Martinsburg, and that is the closing of the Martinsburg facility that the University of Charleston has used there. We'll be moving our Martinsburg instruction to the National Guard headquarters in Martinsburg, and almost all of the students in Martinsburg for the University of Charleston are National Guard members studying leadership and other programs there. But a year from now, in June of 2015, the University of Charleston will lose the right to be occupying the facilities we currently occupy in Beckley, West Virginia. So we are intent on being in Beckley, West Virginia. We are intent on continuing to offer 7 or 8 of the programs that we are offering in Beckley. We have the equipment to offer those programs. We have the location to offer all those programs this year, and things will continue this year as they would have been without the settlement. But for 2015, the fall of 2015, we will need to identify another location in Beckley where we can offer those programs and continue to serve students. Because of the confidential nature of the negotiations, we haven't been able to explore sites until this time, but we will begin this afternoon with conversations with people in the Beckley area, community, friends, and residents about alternatives for the University of Charleston to use beginning 2015 and 2016. We're glad that the negotiations have come to a close after 11 months. And as in any agreement, it's only an agreement because the people who are participating believe that it is advantageous to move forward with the agreement. We will both be happy to answer any additional questions you have and provide further information that would be helpful to you. Thank you very much for coming, and thanks for being interested. You want to collect your questions or individual?